It's not pretty. I believe that everyone should draw in a way that is comfortable for them. The main thing is the result. The middle finger, the left hand slightly down. You need to adjust the light, remove the glare, and check. If only you knew how we started 20 years ago. I wasn't taught how to work with it. In what ratio did you mix the pigments? 2 steps forward, 1.5 steps back. It's as if I've outlined it, but I don't know what I will see. The contour requires more attention. It's more convenient to use a single needle for the bundle. After all, you sit a bit longer in these silly glasses and see all sorts of things. Hello everyone, we are on the Hanafy Colors Pigments channel, and I am Olga Hanafi. I am happy to welcome all friends and colleagues. I would like to take the first few seconds of this video to encourage you to subscribe to our channel and like our videos, because it is very important for the growth of our channel and so that other colleagues can also watch this interesting content. If you are not very familiar with me, let me briefly introduce myself. Well, first of all, I am a producer of pigments at Hanafy Colors Pigments. I came up with them quite a number of years ago, and now these pigments are known, in fact, all over the world, across the entire planet. I am a regular participant in various conferences in different countries and on different continents as our profession. Siding is currently developing very actively. I believe it is experiencing a boom in its development, and many professionals from different parts of the world want to know more and seek information. And as an expert, well, since I am a pigment producer, I am an expert in the field of pigmentology and coloristics after all. I am not one to be modest, an expert, and I share my knowledge with you. But today, I would like to address you specifically as an active, practicing permanent makeup artist, as I have been for 20 years. I really love my profession. I believe that promoting theoretical knowledge has become secondary in my life. It came later. Initially, I entered this profession to work with clients, which I absolutely love doing. Today, I will show you my work with lips. Before I start doing anything, let's take a look at the initial data we have before the procedure. Our wonderful beauty, Alina. She is beautiful all over, and her lips are very beautiful. Beautiful shape, wonderful natural color. Here you can see small remnants of the old permanent makeup. I didn't even notice them in the photo. There's nothing visible on the upper lip, but on the lower lip, just on the left side, the contour stands out a little. So when I saw Alina in person, I immediately thought that there was old permanent makeup here. She confirmed that it is quite old, and basically, well, apart from this spot, it is not really visible anywhere else. However, we have lots of prominently visible Fordyce granules on the upper lip. There are many of them, and they do slightly spoil the appearance of the lips, of course. But the good news is they can be absolutely perfectly covered with permanent makeup. Here, these are not scars or any complicated things. For those who have Fordyce spots, permanent makeup is recommended. Now we will be drawing the sketch. The lips have a very beautiful natural shape. And our task is not to spoil or worsen anything. I draw the sketch with white paste and a flat brush. This is currently a trend in sketch drawing, especially in permanent makeup. It is very convenient, very quick, and easy to understand. I am not opposed to various other options. I believe that everyone should draw in a way that is comfortable for them. The main thing is the result. What is important in a sketch, so that it is clear, so that it is understandable, so that it doesn't get lost when the client lies down and we can no longer see the entire vertical picture, so that it doesn't smudge prematurely. Therefore, everyone chooses what is convenient for them. During my professional career, I have changed the sketch drawing options myself. And even on this channel, you can find my work on permanent lip makeup, where I draw the sketch with a white pencil. I will start drawing. Oh, I forgot what to do. Drawing such fine things. Very important. They need to be in special cases. Please don't overwhelm me with comments about what kind of glasses they are and where to buy them. This is an absolutely necessary measure for me. I am farsighted, I have poor vision. I simply cannot see like this. That's why I wear glasses that bring things closer and allow me to see everything clearly. Not all artists need this. but if you have the same problem as I do, I can tell you where I bought them, although they are very old. I'm afraid that now, at least in Russia, they can't be bought anymore. Well, we can discuss it. Watch how, both when we are working with the machine and needle, and when drawing the sketch, we need to slightly fix the skin and stretch it a little so that we have a clear place to work. First, we need to see why the skin is uneven. The lips are plump and there are folds. We need to see where to place this flat brush. So, we slightly spread it. Look at how my fingers are positioned. The pinky finger of my right hand pulls slightly here, and the middle finger of the left hand slightly down and towards yourself. So it's like I'm stretching, but also downwards. So this finger, the stretch should always be in 3 directions. This works both on the lips and on the eyebrows. When we draw the hairs, we pull in 3 directions. And now I can clearly see the line of the old permanent makeup. It is in the right place. Everything was correct here. There is no form violation here. And I will repeat. What was here? And this is how I will move in the following manner, step by step. You don't need to stretch it tightly like a drum here. You just need to stretch it slightly to see the continuation of the line. Instead of pulling it too hard, just make sure it is taut enough to follow the line smoothly. Lying down, I personally can never see the whole picture. I repeat once again, my task now is to see the boundary of the skin type so that my sketch line does not go over pores and hairs. But I will definitely complete the more precise and very careful correction of the shape when I seat the client. In the vertical position, it is essential to check all lines. This is very important. Lips are like that. An item that, due to its texture, volume, and the characteristics of the skin, often produces various highlights. You need to adjust the light, eliminate glare, and repeatedly check the results. Because here, not just every millimeter matters, but every quarter of a millimeter. For example, right now I see that in this spot it is a little more rounded, more convex. This is related to the volume. Here the volume is made with gel, but I think in this case I need to make some adjustments. And here, make the semicircle a bit smoother. From the corner, just a little bit more, so it looks more refined. Now, I will slightly even out this strongly curved arc to make it appear more balanced and aesthetically pleasing. I don't know how to explain it. In individual master classes, of course, when we spend the whole day one-on-one with the master, it works out personally. It's harder through the screen. How important here is accuracy and very, very high precision, like in a pharmacy. There can't be any broad brush strokes here. Everything is very delicate. I correct many things with just the very tip of the brush, literally placing tiny dots. Just like if I went too far, I need to wipe it off, using the thinnest brush, slightly moistened, to avoid spreading dirt and to keep the surface clean. All the lines are drawn, everything is clear, everything is erased. Where there are some minor details, the wrong ones are visible. And now I am currently working with primary local anesthesia on the lips for the procedure. Almost never on the eyebrows, but on the lips. But it's a habit. It's not to say that it's really necessary, but it's a habit, and it makes everyone feel more at ease. And during this time, while the anesthesia is taking effect, I set up the work table, prepare the machine, and get the pigments ready. So, my time is not wasted. To ensure that all this paste does not spread, shift, or smudge, there are hacks. These are quite well known. We lightly dust with talc, special powder, or baby powder. As they say, there isn't much of a difference. That's it, nothing else is needed. And now we apply the anesthesia. Today my primary anesthesia is proglycane. I don't skimp on anesthesia. I don't dilute it in a way to an extremely thin and delicate layer. You can apply it thicker if you prefer. It absorbs very well. That's basically it. Now we have a completed film, a film, a film, a film, essentially, and that's it. Oops. So while our Alina is under anesthesia, we need to prepare the workspace, the machine, the pigments, and so on. So regarding the machine, I can't be an expert in everything. I'm not very knowledgeable about the technical aspects of machines. I'm more into pigments, but I rely on my intuition. Right now, for GER, I love the Mass P20. It is. So in general, it's a short stroke, a hybrid short stroke, small strokes, and I don't work with large movements at all. I don't like waving my hand. I work with small strokes, especially on the lips. Next, regarding the cartridges, in general, I am a single needle master. I have been working in all areas for many, many, many years with a single needle, even though I was not taught to work with it. I came to using single needles on my own, absolutely consciously and deliberately, after trying out a bunch of different needles and bundles, both large and small, and magnums, and so on. In other words, I have experience working with a variety of needles. In the end, for my hand, for my technique, for my aesthetics, a single needle is the most convenient. However, on the lips, I often, and today I will try to show you as well, often use for shading to speed up the process a bit and to apply a quicker velvet finish to blend the lips. I use a 30 diameter 3-point needle here and here, but here it's a single MT, and here it's an RS 3-point needle. Regarding the different colors I have here, both are Hanafi, as you can see. There was even a bit of a debate on the internet about why the Hanafi was created. Our needles were purple, violet, for a very long time indeed. Those who loved them worked with pleasure for quite a long time. And then we got these gray-black needles. The audience was divided into two distinct categories. Those who said, finally, you have released proper needles. And those who said, what a mess you have released. It's impossible to use them. They don't color the skin. So I have already made various videos on Instagram showing that they paint perfectly well on the skin and everything is fine with them. Again, they require a certain approach, and you might fall in love with them or you might not. This is a personal matter for everyone. They are of good quality. They are good. How do they differ besides the color? They differ in some greater, how to say, they are less sharp, slightly less sharp. That is, with the same marking, the black needles will be a bit duller. So we start loading the machine. We take a single cartridge. I carefully extend the needle adjustment gently. And the extended needle, I hold it so it doesn't retract. And towards the longer edge of the tip, I slightly bend it with my thumb. Don't overdo it so it doesn't bend or break. That's enough. Inserted, turned on. We check the needle protrusion. I don't work with long protrusions. Not at all. And on a short stroke machine, it doesn't make any sense at all. The machine, of course, needs to be wrapped in barrier protection. This is important. Do not neglect it. Additionally, these machines, of course, cannot be sterilized. You cannot put them in an autoclave or a dry heat sterilizer. Accordingly, it should be clean so that it is enough to wipe it with a disinfectant solution, and that's it. Therefore, it should be covered as much as possible. We wrapped it with plastic film. Here at the beginning, a bandage wrap is used for easier handling. It is not a barrier protection, as we know. This is exceptionally comfortable for the hand because it doesn't slip. The machine is ready to work. So regarding the choice of pigments, now we are going to choose the pigment. Of course, I have already chosen it a long time ago. Now I will show you what I chose and why. Here they are, our pigments. Please raspberry and pitch, number 6 and number 3. In what ratio did you mix the pigments? Honestly, I don't record it by approximately drops. I think the 6 will be the main one. That is, there will be more of it. For example, 2/3 or 3/4. A little bit of the 3-point needle. The 3-point needle is a very light pigment with a serious S, with a significant content of titanium dioxide. When titanium dioxide, which is white, is present, our pigment can be a bit thick. Here, we mix. Everything is well mixed. And now we have the same number 6, but a bit softer, a bit warmer. So let's take a closer look at the mix I used today, why I chose it, and what would have happened if I hadn't mixed these two pigments or had mixed something else with something different. So today I took number 6 and number 3, raspberry and peach, which are delicious flavors. I said that the coolest, very rich, beautiful number 6 was indeed perfect for our model today. However, since her lips were naturally cool-toned, plus the remnants of a fairly cool, very similar old permanent makeup, I decided that this pigment needed to be softened a bit, slightly diluted, made more powdery, and a little lighter. The main thing is to warm it up a little. And I mentioned that the most common mix lately, the most frequently encountered mix, is 6 plus 9. Here are raspberry and soft beige, but I didn't want to use number 9 because compared to peach, it is cooler. An insanely beautiful color, insanely, and it is very often used in its pure form, unlike peach. Peach on its own is actually quite light. It rarely looks very gorgeous on the lips by itself, indeed. But as an addition to something brighter, well, it's definitely my favorite. So, I want to show you the swatches and how they look on paper. Swatch of pure, beautiful raspberry, swatch of pure peach. And what exactly happened when you mix them together precisely? Here we will add a drop of pure peach, number 3, and here we will add their mixture, number 6 plus number 3. First we will add 3 to this number. Next we will pour pure 9 into a separate container to demonstrate how it appears on its own. After that, I will mix the 9 with 6 to observe the result. Finally, we will show you the appearance of 6 on paper, so you can see the difference clearly. This process will help you understand the individual and combined effects of these numbers. Look at this. Isn't it a stunning and vibrant color? Now, we are going to show you the peach in detail. You do understand what I mean, right? It's truly amazing, isn't it? The color is so rich and beautiful, just like a perfect summer day. Light and very warm. Therefore, I have actually already mixed it here. Now I will mix it just a little bit more to make it even. When I mixed one with the other, we got there. Good. A very well noticeable intermediate tone. That is, it has lost its coolness but hasn't acquired that. But I wouldn't call it rye. It never looks orange on the lips, but this warmth has transferred here. Now I will swatch number 9 next to it so you can see how it differs from number 3. And you will understand that if I had mixed with number 9, it wouldn't be very noticeable on paper, but the difference would be visible on the lips. Here's a 9. Just a bit more water, just a little more saturated, a tad bit darker, slightly, just a bit more, and a little bit cooler. It is not cold by any means, but slightly cooler, of course, than the peach. Therefore, in the mix, it will turn out differently. I have given you a small example. Speaking further about working with lip pigments, it is a wonderful, remarkable, fascinating, and exciting form of creativity. Unlike brow pigments, where everything is very constrained by strict boundaries, we have very little room to vary. We must follow certain rules. With lips, everything is simpler and easier. That's why we have 10 shades, and they are all beautiful. And when they ask, can you recommend the best one? Can you recommend the most popular one? Well, there aren't any. Trends vary depending on fashion and region, as well as the preferences of the artist and the client. You can choose what you like and what your clients like. Well, of course, if the lips are very cool-toned, vascular, and dark, it's obvious that you shouldn't use cool shades. We don't have many of them in the palette, but there are some cool shades. For example, today I showed you the number 6. Accordingly, if a girl is pale and wants subtle lips, she shouldn't choose radical bright berry colors. But you still have the right to vary. You have the right to consult with the client. You have the right to ask them to show their favorite lipstick or gloss, and based on that, proceed. Enjoy working with all our pigments. I can vary the ratio of these colors in the mix during the procedure, depending on what I see on the lips and how the pigment is applied. And here, of course, a drop one way or the other won't make a big difference, honestly, so don't worry too much about it. So, I'm ready to start the procedure. Carefully and meticulously remove the film and gently dab the anesthesia. The art of blotting anesthesia is indeed one of the most important in the art of permanent makeup. From top to bottom, with careful movements, we don't drag or smudge the sketch. It's inconvenient to do this with a cotton pad. Firstly, the cotton pad is small, and secondly, it leaves these streaks, so the sketch is all in place. Everything is in place. With very short stitches, which overlap almost, well, I would say 78%, sometimes even 90–100%. Forward, backward, forward, backward. 2 steps forward, 1.5 steps back. Drawing the sketch as a border, as a junction. Lips and not lips is more accurate than just some contour line. Even if it is done with a pen, well, the upper lip, of course, is less convenient to draw. It's not very convenient to make an initial, somewhat decent stretch here. Well, slowly. Let's start with a check mark. Don't rush. Don't wave your hands. Every single little stroke is so absolutely crucial and meticulous here. Every single one. And understand that there are as many ways of working, in various ways and methods, as there are people. Technically, it might all be roughly the same, but the manner of working, the way of holding the hand, the way of handling the machine, the stroke, can certainly differ. The master's technique. His handwriting is shaped by his careful and meticulous experience and detailed observation of other masters. And he can pick up various life hacks and some tricks and tips from different masters. Well, probably there's no need to mention that we don't connect the line of the upper and lower lips. Everyone knows that. Here is the specific lip closure area and also the fold area, permanent folds. If we connect them there, it will look like a sore. It will appear as cracks at the corners of the lips. It's as if I have outlined it, but I don't know what I will see. Perhaps in some places almost nothing. I am extremely meticulous in my work and never rush. So now we will check. Wiped it off, looked at it. Well, it's not bright, but I can see everything. Of course, I will repeat it here. When I wipe it off, if I see that there is not enough pigment, I don't continue wiping the other areas. I add more right there. I will still add it. I will add it now, before erasing the rest, to connect this line. Although, of course, overall, it's enough for me, but just a little bit. If I see that my usual movements have resulted in too little pigment in the skin, well, I mean right now, specifically during the contour setting, then I slow down. Well, always, especially on the contour, I slow down my stroke. The hand works slower. This stroke is done more slowly. For secondary anesthesia, I used Hanafy. Well, actually, It's an analog of sustain. Exactly the same composition. A light gel that contains epinephrine, so it whitens the skin to some extent, but not very much. There isn't such a bright, very serious white stripe, but it also varies depending on the skin. Sometimes it's bigger, sometimes it's smaller. But here, the whitening effect is not very strong. It's of medium intensity. Now I continue with the same cartridge, using a single stroke to color all the lips. Regarding the stroke, it is important. Do you work for yourself? Do you work with a pendulum? Well, neither on the lips. These are strokes parallel to the skin. That is, I am kind of stroking the skin evenly with the needle, meaning I don't have an entry point into the skin, like with the pendulum technique, and no exit point. I don't have those sharp movements towards myself. On eyebrows, we often work like this. Not here. Here, there is a uniform, soft, superficial stroking of the skin. So now we will erase it. Our slightly lower lip. We went over everything very thoroughly. And of course, we can see how she... Well, honestly, let's be completely honest with each other. Right now, it is a little bit brighter than the upper one. But still, you can see that the color has settled. The color matches what it was. It harmonizes well. Well, we will certainly make another pass here. We will enhance the contour, make this line clearer. Now let's move on to the upper lip. It will probably be more sensitive and painful now. We will go over it just as thoroughly now and then apply the secondary layer directly under the film for 5 minutes. Towards the area of lip closure, I allow myself to make wider, longer strokes. When we carefully and slowly approach the area where we have the contour line, I very slightly shorten the strokes and place them closer together. I approach that very faint contour line, the fixed contour, and of course I go over it again with strokes back and forth. In other words, in the end, to ensure that our contour is painted a bit denser and more evenly, so that it holds its shape better. Because the main issue during correction, not a problem but a request for correction when a person comes in, is that they want a sharper contour. Because this is a complex area of the line, it's generally difficult to maintain in the skin, more difficult than shading. And additionally, this is the area adjacent to the skin, which has pores. It has completely different properties. Therefore, we certainly pay more attention to the contour. And working with it can also be more time-consuming. That's what I was talking about. Here comes the redness, beyond the lip contour. It wasn't there until we started working, without anesthesia, without trauma. All these little red things in the area of the ridge were not there before. This is a traumatic reaction. It is a very pleasant pink color and very similar to our pigment. And it greatly hinders the work if the master is, let's say, not very experienced. Nothing can scare me anymore, but it really is confusing. So, in such cases, if you are not sure about your contour, have the client sit down. Our time for the secondary anesthesia is almost up. We will remove the film, and in the meantime, I will quickly change the cartridge because, as I said and promised, I am going to work a little with the 3. Then I will return to the first step, because I will need to refine some details on the contour here and there. It's more convenient to do this with a single needle, more precise. And now I will quickly go over the entire surface of the lips with a 3-needle cartridge. Well, that's it. I'm telling everyone right away. Working with a bundle cannot be done at any angle other than 90 degrees, such as... Because as soon as we lower the bundle at a certain angle, it turns out that only 1 or at most 2 needles from the bundle are engaged. In order for them all to enter the skin evenly, they must be positioned absolutely perpendicular to the skin. Here, the movements can be varied. You can smooth it back and forth with the same strokes. You can move in circular motions. Like this, you can twist loops. You can change it up this way, and that. It's not crucial. The main thing is to apply a bit more pressure. With the hand, do not rush with the single needle either. Do not use this thick needle in very small corners near the contour or on some uncolored details. It is better to leave that for the final pass with the single needle. Let it finish everything. Our task is simply to evenly apply more pigment to all the lips right now. I don't see the difference between curls or just strokes. I just feel like it right now. Here a bit more stretching is required. I told myself to just fix the lip, to keep it even and nothing more. For the bundle, you need to be a bit more attentive and careful with this fixation tension. You should be a bit more cautious and meticulous. These are the areas I mentioned where I approach the contour, but no more, to avoid going beyond the boundary. Later, as I said, I will carefully smooth everything out with a single stroke. I will get into all the little corners and color everything in. That's it. Our work is coming to an end. I'm just getting ready. There's something going on with my lips. As long as I've been working, I keep catching myself. At some point, you need to... In our work, the most important thing is to stop in time. But when you're sitting in those glasses, you see all sorts of things. You want it even better, brighter, more defined. Just a little bit. A tiny bit of leveling in some places. I even stand at the end of the procedure when my eye from the side is completely tired. I stand up, stretch my back a little, and look from a different angle. Well, we have finished the work. We don't have any swelling, by the way. Well, the lips, of course, have slightly smoothed out as usual. There are some small folds, but basically there is no turning inside out. The color turned out really rich and beautiful. And now I'm just applying a little bit of Vaseline just for a pleasant shine. I'll apply it. Vaseline should be... Actually, it's better to use Trefilon instead of Vaseline, to be honest, for applying on the lips after the procedure for shine. But if you do use petroleum jelly like I am now, then use very little so that it doesn't sit on the lips in thick chunks. Because in photographs it is very noticeable. It gives off crazy highlights and stands out unattractively. Sometimes you don't see it with the naked eye, but then you take a photo and think, ugh, why didn't I notice that? It's not pretty. That's it. We have finished the procedure. Thank you all for your attention, and thank you to my wonderful model. She is tired, but everything went well and successfully. Please subscribe to our channel and like this video so that I can reach as many other people interested in this content as possible. Bye.